Hi, hello, and welcome. I hope you're fine. Um, Thank you so much for joining, whoever are joining from the various platforms. Thank you so much. This is actually the first kind of the session I'm doing on my personal profile. So, hello to all my friends. This is basically the session is on this book, A New Earth, right? This book by Eckhart Tolle. It's a book that is life changing. Uh, it helped change my life. This book, as well as the book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. So this is basically a quick video where I want to kind of quick session where I want to share. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth chapters I've already shared on my YouTube channel. They are available both in Hindi and English. They are available. First, second, third, and fourth are available. So after a long gap, I'm doing the fifth the part. This time I've just changed the format. Um, Whoever is there, they can just tell me their names or something, that I can welcome them from where they are joining. Okay, right. So this is chapter 5. So what I'll do is that this time I have just changed the format, right? I have kind of made a mind map. So I will just share my screen. Right. So I hope you can see my screen. Uh, Anyone can just give me a thumbs up that they can see my screen. That will help. Just a second. Okay. Hello, Palak. Hi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. Just a second. Okay, fine. So this is basically a kind of a mind map that I've prepared. And right. So I will just start. Right. So this, sorry, this is just a mistake. I will just This is chapter 5 that we are picking up. So the first thing is that it is basically the introduction. So I've like made pointers like for everything, right? So this is introduction. Then this chapter basically is on pain body, right? Chapter 5 is on. No, it will come. No, it will not come. So chapter 5 is on pain body. So there is first the introduction, then the birth of emotion, how emotion is born, right, in the body. Then emotions and ego, how emotions and ego are related. Then there is a beautiful analogy that Eckhart has given, a duck with a human mind, where he has explained if duck had a human mind, how it will behave, right? Uh, okay, I hope I'm audible to everyone. Okay, then carrying the past, how we carry our past with us, how the pain body renews itself, and how the pain body feeds on thoughts, how the pain body feeds on drama, individual and collective pain bodies. So we don't have an even only an individual pain body, we also have collective pain bodies, right? Then there are people who have dense pain bodies. So who are those people? How, what characteristics they exhibit? Then how entertainment media, they basically feed our pain body, right? That's why you see all the negative news and everything on the media. Why this is there. Then there is something on the collective female pain body, like why in female there is this periods, right? So that is the collective female pain body that we'll discuss. And then there are national and racial pain bodies, right? So countries have their pain bodies, races have their pain bodies, right? Okay, so we'll start. So here, if I will just, right. So, in the introduction, what Eckhart says that the voice in the head has a life of its own, right? Till the time we are identified with that voice that is going on in our head, the self-talk that is going on, right? So, till that time we are identified with that, it will have a life of its own, and it will actually run our life, right? And it will accumulate pain, and it will be like an entity which is there in our body, right? And for some people, they are so identified with voice that is going on in their head, that they, they don't think that there is life outside. So life is outside, you know when you stop identifying with this voice that is going on. Otherwise, when we are fully identified with the voice in the head, then basically we don't live, we are like just robots, right? And Eckhart says that the mind which is conditioned by the past reenacts it again, right? So that is why it is said, no, that if you are very in the mind, right? If you are very much, dense in the mind, you have all these patterns, then anyone can predict your future, right? Because there is a very clear cut path through which you will go, because you are just going through those routines, right? And the past will reenact itself again, because what happens is, till the time I'm identified with my mind, what happens is the past will repeat itself. The same thought patterns will keep running again and again and again. I will make the same choices again. And this is what is karma. This is what is destiny, right? There is actually no destiny. We create our own self, so there is this self created prison that we have, and we live in that prison. And there is this time when we decide that enough is enough. I want to free myself. And that is when awareness dawns on us, right? Which is this whole book is all about, that we all are moving towards a new earth, right? We are all moving towards this new earth, where we are, that shackles are, we are freeing ourselves of the shackles. Then Eckhart says that the ego arises as a result of being too identified, right? So now here, what Eckhart says is that there is no problem with the thoughts, right? The problem is in identification with these thoughts. And the more you identify with these thoughts, what happens is that there is this false sense of a separate self that arises, right? Anyone has any questions, please do put in the chat, and I will I'll have a dedicated Q&A at the end, and I'll answer them as we go, right? I'll try to answer them, but please do put in the chat if you have any questions, right? Okay, right. So now there is this ego. So the problem is, the more I identified with the voice in the head, with in my head that is there, that that results in the creation of an ego, the false sense, which is jiva, right? So we have been given free will. We are given the ability as humans, the ability to think. But when we identify too much with that, the thinking, we create a false sense that I am separate from this universe, right? And that is the source of all our problems. And the degree of identification with the mind differs. For some people, they are totally identified with their mind. For some people, they are not identified, and they feel peace. And sometimes they are identified. So when the time when they are not identified, they don't know how, what is the word that they can give, which Eckhart says presence, or which other masters say mindfulness, right? So it differs from person to person how their mental structure, how their karmic structure is. But we all have that freedom to be aware of this pattern in us, and be free of this talk. The moment we become just a witness of this talk that is going on in us, we become free. We are free of those shackles. But the pull is so strong, it will again pull us back, and then we have to again bring us back. And that is our sadhana, that is our practice. So the practice is not only always just to sit on the meditation mat and do the meditation, although that is a very kind of helpful thing to come out of this whole cycle. But the practice is also to be aware of whatever thoughts and feelings and emotions that are going in us, that are happening in us from moment to moment, right? Okay, so I hope this was clear. Second, what Eckhart says is that about the birth of emotion, right? So Eckhart says that emotions and thinking are fine. They turn into ego once you identify, right? Once you identify with them, right? Once you think that these emotions are me, this thinking, these thoughts are me, then that is a problem. So if there is a thought that is running in me and I'm just witnessing it, yes, that is it. In this moment, there is this thought that is running in me. That is fine. That is absolutely fine, right? Because I am a witness. I'm beyond that particular thought, right? So that is what we need to do. We have to disidentify, right? We have been so identified with our thinking. Now we need to disidentify, bring it back. Now Eckhart says that every organism has an intelligence which reacts to the thoughts, right? So we are all intelligent beings, right? Our body is very, very intelligent. It reacts to the thoughts. Now Emotion is basically body's reaction to the mind, right? Sorry. Whatever is going on in your mind, whatever is going on in your mind, the sorry, the emotion is basically the body's reaction to the mind, right? Now this, there is one is an actual event that is happening, and you try to run away from that event, and your body is like, the emotions of fear and all come up. Second is that where these thoughts of fearful thoughts are going in your mind, that also body takes it as a equally same thing, and it generates reaction, which is the emotion. And you can feel all these emotions in your body, right? The best way actually to get out of these emotions, if you are facing difficult emotions, is bring more awareness to your body, how these emotions are manifesting as sensations in various parts of the body, right? Now, just example, if someone who has just gone got a heartbreak, right? S- Maybe his girlfriend told him that, uh, she's going to marry someone else. The first thing what will happen in the body is, there is this, heart area, the gut area, heart and gut, that place, they'll feel someone has punched them. This is how the body responds, right, to what is happening in either the actual situation, or what is. So bring more awareness, more and more awareness to what is the kind of sensations, right? Okay. Emotions can also be in response to an actual event, right? So now, one is that something this is going on in the mind, there is an emotion that comes. Second is that the emotion can also be response to an actual event, right? There is an actual event where, either you are ridiculed by someone, or you are in a life threatening situation. But very important here is, for example, rebuke, either like your boss criticizes you or something. What is the filter of mental interpretation that you use for someone? So if there are two employees, the boss shouts at one employee, and he's okay, he doesn't matter to him. And there is another employee that just goes into depression, right, for the whole day, because the boss has said something in a very strong tone. So that is where the whole mental interpretation, the how we perceive, that comes in, right? So that also differs from person to person. The main point here is, what we have to do is that we have to be aware of what all is going in, right? What all is going in inside me right now, right, in various situations. Now body cannot tell the difference between actual situation and thought, right? Body cannot tell the difference, right? It just treats both the things as same, right? Now in case of mind generated emotions, there is no energy outlet, right? Now what happens is that, suppose you are faced with a situation, someone is like, someone is out there to, harm you physically, and then you are running, a stranger is out there to harm you, so you'll run. So the whatever is the fear energy that has got generated in you, that will get an outlet. But in case of mind generated emotions, where you are just at home, so the issue is that you think that you might be laid off from your job. That whole thing, when it plays out in the mind, you are not doing anything. That basically, that energy, the it gets stored in the body, and it generates more thought, right? That energy gets generated in the body, and it gets generates more thought, and then the more thought more pain, generates more pain body. So you think like you've been like in a anxious situation, or a kind of a fearful situation, and 2 3 4 5 hours, if you are there, by the evening you are totally, you are like totally drained out, right? So this is how it happens, right? Just a second. Okay, you're totally drained out. That is why it is very very important to do some walk, do some exercise daily basis, right? This is just my, I have just added it. Do some exercise daily, right? So that whatever is that energy that gets built up, that gets a, you just think about, um, you have a very hard day at work, right? Lot of stress. And in the evening you play something like volleyball or basketball, or do some rigorous exercise. It lightens you up. It just, everything is over, right? It's just all the energy that is builds up is just releases. Then it's a very good suggestion to do grounding. If evening, just evening, or you can do in the morning also, no problem. Just put your bare feet in the soil. Let the all the emotions, let the earth, mother earth is so, healing and nurturing. It takes away all your negative energy, and it gives you healing energy, right? So do some grounding. Just put your bare feet in the soil. and over time this energy harms up the body. So as this energy gets accumulated, it's like it then harms the body. It manifests as physical diseases, I mean, mental diseases, emotional diseases, physical diseases. So we have to ensure that try and release this energy. So we don't have control on the stress that we take. A lot of times we don't have control, right? So one thing what we can do is be mindful to whatever is going on in me right now, right? Second thing is do physical exercise, to release the whatever is the energy that has got generated, right? So that was something on emotion. Then we come on the, I'll have to move fast because otherwise it will be a very very long session, right? Okay. Okay, now emotions and ego. Now ego is the unobserved emotions, right? Ego is also the unobserved, whatever are the unobserved emotions that are there. Ego is that. Sometimes the pull of thought is so strong, right? The pull of thoughts is so strong that the body reacts even before the person can voice the thought, right? Sometimes, person is like, in what happens in road rage cases, right? The pull of thoughts is so strong that even before you decide on how to react, the body just reacts. You just become violent, or the person becomes violent, right? So that is how it is. And then there are certain Eckhart says that there are certain unconscious assumptions that we have, that I am no good, right? Which basically creates emotions which generate thought, right? So we have to continuously try and examine what uh, kind of unconscious assumptions that we hold about ourselves and others, because a lot of times these assumptions generate thought, and they generate emotions, and then they generate thought, and then they generate emotions, so that cycle starts. So the important thing is what unconscious assumptions, and the very helpful thing here, what you can do is journaling, right? Journal whatever is going on, what unconscious assumptions you have. Make a list of top 10 assumptions that you have about people, right? How you judge people, or how you judge yourself. So that is something we can do to bring more awareness towards our assumptions. See, the whole game is to bring more and more awareness towards all these assumptions that we have for ourselves and others. Then negative emotion. Negative emotion is the emotion that interferes with the harmonious function of the body, right? Any emotion which interferes with the harmonious function of the body is a negative emotion, right? Now, this negative emotion, Eckhart says, not only affects you but also affects others around you, right? So that is why it is called psychic pollution. So if you are feeling negative, if you're feeling bad, your emotions, your vibes also spread over to the people, especially family members. And that is where there is like this thing about toxic families. Toxic families, family members, where they don't fight, right? But children can sense that there is something going on between dad and mom, right? And that becomes toxic, right? Because their energy also affects the children's energy. Then Eckhart says positive emotions, if they come from ego, quickly turn into negative emotions. Right? Now, on positive emotions, what Eckhart says is that they are not necessarily always good, right? Because if the positive emotions are coming from ego, right, from my sense of separate self, for example, it is like if I love someone, right, and then over time, what happens is, over time it manifests into possessiveness. Over time, it can manifest into anger, right? So generally, it is all play of opposites. Positive turns into negative, right? Negative turns into positive, and this whole game keeps on continuing, right? So this is just a kind of a section where Eckhart tried to connect emotions to ego. I hope you all are getting this, and this is making sense. If you have any questions, do put in the chat. Okay. Then there is this section on duck with a human mind, where basically Eckhart gives the example of a duck. What a duck does is that ducks, if they have a fight, they flap their wings furiously, and then they flew in opposite directions. Now, if that duck would have had a human mind, it would have made up a story, right? It would have made up a story that why this person was doing something like this, why this person behaved like this, and it would keep on making up that story, keep on generating more and more pain within it, you know and then it would continue fighting in the mind. What would happen by this is that it would generate more emotion in that duck, and more suffering. So what Eckhart says is that as a species, as a human, as a species, we have lost our way. A lot of animals are more intelligent than us, right? And we need to learn from those animals on how we can manage our emotions in a better way. Then there is this section on carrying the past, right? Where Eckhart says the story of two Zen masters, two Zen monks. So there was like this story where two Zen monks were there. They were walking, and there was this stream that there was there. A stream, a water stream was there, and there was this lady, a very beautiful kind of a lady was there, and she said that she cannot cross the stream. So one of the monks, what he did was he just held her in her arms, and she and held her in the arms and took her to the other side. And then they were continuously walking and walking, and over time, after walking for 2 3 hours, the other monk, he asked the Zen master, the first monk, the question is that, why did you hold? We are not allowed to do that. So he said that I had dropped that girl 2 hours back, and you are still carrying her. So, what basically Eckhart is saying is that the memories or the past is not a problem, but we have to ensure that it doesn't, it we don't let that take over us. So, what happens is generally all our present is totally clouded by our past memories. What happened to us in the past, all our past conditioning and all. So, what we have to do is that we have to live in the present, right? Try to live more and more in the present, and not let these memories kind of become the base for our future decisions. Otherwise we will not able to come out we will not be able to come out of the cycle. We will be remaining the same person which we were 10, 15, 20 years back. So we have to bring more and more awareness in us, right? More and more awareness as to these patterns that I've been carrying, right? And that is like I think the real wins, right? That I get out of this, my barriers, my limitations. For example, some one person's limitation can be that I cannot do something, right? I'm no good, I cannot do. This is basically he has developed this pattern over time, in the past having failed, but now if he carries them today also, so today also if he does something, he will not be able to do, because his mindset is like fixed to that frequency, that I cannot do something. So we have to get rid of that, right? Become more and more aware, right? Not fight with that memory, but become more and more aware of that memory. Then Eckhart says almost everyone carries old emotional pain in them, right? Almost every one of us, only to the different degrees that so our job is to keep returning to the timeless presence, right? Timeless presence in awareness, in mindfulness right now, right? Okay. Then there is this section how pain body renews itself, right? Where basically Eckhart says, uh, this pain body that is there, it is like an entity that lives in the human body, right? And eh, that entity is made up of emotion, right? Now many people it is like dormant, right? It is dormant, and some people it is active, right? So you never know how it gets triggered. Now that pain body has its own intelligence, and feeds it needs to feed itself through negative thinking, drama, right? All these things, right? So life, what happens in life is that many a times we create drama, we create negative situations for ourselves. Is that the pain body creates that for itself, so that it can feed on that particular negative thinking and everything, right? So what we need to do, what Eckhart says, is we need awareness to recognize something within you that needs negativity, right? So what is in me that is creating this suffering, right? We what we do is, otherwise, till the time we are having the victim mentality, we keep on blaming for our problems, for our negative patterns, for our frustration or our sadness. We keep blaming to other people, right? We keep looking outside. Now it's the time to look inside, that what is in me that is creating. Have you ever thought, that I get reminded of this Jethalal from Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma, right? So somewhere or the other thing happens to him. So why did he has to like, and we all have to think that why it is that I am creating this pain for myself, right? All these problems for myself, right? So we that awareness we can cultivate in us, right? The more we cultivate that awareness, the more we will be able to get free of the suffering. Now, how this pain body creates feeds on drama, right? Here, basically, what Eckhart says is that the pain bodies, they love drama and they love intimate relationships because and families, right? And now it is said no that easiest you can practice uh, the easiest you can practice your spiritual thing, you can do spiritual practice is in the monastery. That less easier you can practice in the crowd, and the most difficult to do your spiritual practice is in a family setting, right? And Eckhart says one more thing that if you think that you are enlightened, go and meet your parents. If you think you are enlightened, take some time and go meet your parents, right? So all these family relationships, husband, wife, parents, children, they are the they are the best opportunity for the pain body to create drama, create pain, and it feeds on that pain. Now relationships, now what happens is the relationship starts on a very good note, and then it gets into violent episodes, instances of domestic violence, and not only domestic physical violence but also mental violence, emotional violence. Now what happens is for young children, for the children of those parents, for them it is very difficult to understand that the pain bodies have risen in in the parents. So a child gets up in the night at like 1 o'clock and just sees the parents fighting with each other, right? And it is very difficult for that child to understand why the parents are fighting. It's because there's something has triggered the pain bodies of parents and they are fighting, right? So and then it also gets Eckhart gives the example of excessive consumption of alcohol. Now what happens is that when a person consumes excessively alcohol, pain body takes over, right? Pain body takes over that person, and then what he does is that he whatever is that pain body wants to do the destruction, he does it on the family members. And then once the pain body so pain body feeds itself, and the pain body then again goes dormant, and then the person comes into his senses, then that person says that, oh please, I'm sorry, I will never ever do this again, right? I will not touch alcohol, I will never do this again. But again he does the same thing because the he becomes the pain body, right? Pain body then again takes over him. He does the again the violence because it is not him, it is that pain body that has taken over him, right? The pain body's hold is so much that he loses his senses. So alcohol does this. So let us stay away from alcohol in whichever way. Not even in social settings, my request is, not even in social settings let us stay away from alcohol because it's a very very bad habit, right? Okay. Then there's this section on then what Eckhart says is that couples, now it is like said that uh, we fall couples fall in love. Eckhart says no, they don't fall in love. Mostly it is because they come together because they have resonating pain bodies, right? It is more of all these relationships are more of karmic relationships where they share the same pain, and they have resonating pain bodies which come together because their pain bodies have to kind of feed on each other. So when you marry a person, basically you marry that spouse's pain body also. So when you marry that person, initially the pain body will be dormant because that person is more focused on impressing you. And then over time what happens is in every marriage it happens, right? The pain bodies will remain low till marriage is consummated, like marriage happens, right? You have this courtship phase and everything is going on well, and you think that you have found the perfect partner, and then what happens is that once the marriages happen, things are settled, then the pain bodies emerge, right? And then you feel that this is not the person that you have married, this is the actually the same person that you have married. Only the thing is that the pain body was dormant in that other person. Now so what happens is that if the pain body is risen in the other person, your duty as a spouse is to be more and more conscious. Don't don't become unconscious yourself. Even if the other person is unconscious, Don't be so this is actually very, very well explained by Eckhart in his other book, The Power of Now, chapter 8, relationships. If relationships is a challenge for you, go and check that particular Power of Now. I have made it on my YouTube channel. So that's, or best read that book, right? How he has beautifully demonstrated how these all games happen in relationships, right? Then what Eckhart says about individual and collective pain bodies, right? So I hope I'm, I'm clear. If if you have any questions or something, please ask me, or you can just comment also if it is clear or not clear, right? I hope I'm making sense. Okay, so okay, so there are individual and collective pain bodies, right? So what happens is that whatever is the unhealed emotion that gets accumulated as a pain and it is stored in the DNA, and the children carry their pain to adulthood. But it also includes collective pain, right? A lot of people have pain that they have inherited from like the ancestors, right? So that is encoded in their DNA, right? And that is also the pain that they have to clear in their lifetime. So not all pain or not all patterns are my own. A lot of it is part of my lineage that I inherited, that I inherit. A lot of patterns, if I become more aware, more and more aware about my patterns, I can see that some patterns relate to my father, or some patterns relate to my mother, or some patterns relate to my mother's mother, right? So this is how these patterns are they actually flow down till there is someone, there is that one person in the family who decides that I need to heal, that who basically decides that I will come in awareness, and I and through coming in awareness he heals that, and he doesn't pass it on to someone else in the down in the family. Otherwise, what happens, how is ancestral pain or ancestral trauma passed down is that there is nobody to heal, nobody takes a responsibility to heal that pain. Everyone suffers and suffers, and then the pain, it's like the genetic hereditary diseases, right? Lifestyle, the diabetes and what all these, they're all the manifestation of the pain that has been passed down from the ancestral line. So there is this one person who decides that I will reverse my lifestyle, I will just, maybe go on a full plant diet, or I will do anything to heal myself of this problem, right? At least he can, like, even if he can reduce it to 50%, that only the rest 50% will be passed down, right? So this is how the individual and collective pain bodies are. Then there's this thing, dense pain bodies, right? So then there are certain people who basically have a very dense pain body, right? But they only smile at the surface, but at the core, at the bottom, they are like, if you in one word, if I want to say, they are like people who are grumpy, right? They smile on the surface, but inside they're unhappy, right? And they're just waiting for that next small trigger or next small event to explode. So they are, so it's that dense pain body is, they always are unhappy, right? There is always this unhappiness in them. So that when you know that you are that person, if any of you face this problem of constant unhappiness inside you, realize that this is the dense pain body, right? And then what we have to become aware is that, become aware of this dense pain body, right? How it is manifesting as thoughts, how it is manifesting as emotions. Be more aware of your thoughts, be more aware of the sensations. Then what they do is they project their pain outside, and what some of them, they just remain embroiled in court cases entire life. They don't come in peace, right? So I've always like shared this one thing is that you have to decide what you want. Do you want victory, or do you want peace, right? Some people are like so much into revenge, they want to take revenge against some other person. So I always tell them that you choose, do you want revenge or do you want peace in this moment, right? So some are embroiled in court cases, then some become activists. Now actually in their activism, the deeper thing is that deeper unhappiness that is there in them. So on the top they might look as, kind of they are becoming activists for a cause like, greenery or environment, or but inside they're happy. And what happens is, because of this negative energy and the pain that drives them into all these things, actually they end up creating more enemies. They end up creating more pain for themselves, right? So this is what we need to be aware, right? Then there is this section on the entertainment media and pain body, where basically Eckhart is sharing is that, this whole entertainment industry and the whole media industry, this industry is, if you see main part, it's like, everywhere there are exceptions, but violent movies, all these violent movies, and especially there, all these, I don't want to say, but there's this South Indian movies, you see lot of violence that is there. And what happens is, and I always have wondered why, these movies are there. Some movies which has lot of violence, a lot of sexual content, like if you see all these Netflix and all, all these places, you always see a lot of violence, a lot of sexual content which you cannot see with your children. Now why it is there is because people want that content. There is a entire population which wants that content, because what, the pain body of that person, of the watcher, wants this content to feed its own pain body, right? So you'll find people who binge watch, right? What they are actually doing is, this is called unmindful consumption. They are consuming negativity, they are strengthening the pain body, like what Thai says, we have seeds of pain, seeds of lust, seeds of anger in our store consciousness, the subconsciousness. So the more they watch these things, they strengthen all these things in their subconscious, and then again these things come up in their life, right? And then they say, why all the anger and all the violence is coming out? Because you are watching all these things, you are taking all these things inside you. That is why very, very important, all of us, to be so see, a person who is not aware, who is totally identified with the mind, that's okay, but if, like, we all need to be more and more mindful of what we watch, the content that we watch on TV. And especially, TV, the problem with TV is that it actually takes you into subconscious trance. That is how, these ads, they are basically programs. These advertisements are basically programs that get set in your subconscious. So the next time you go into a supermarket and buy something, your subconscious, that program actually makes you buy that particular product. So that's the basically sign. That's why it's called a TV program. So the TV program, the content of that TV program is nothing. It is just a it is just a filler for the ads. The main thing is the ads that they come on the TV, right? So violence, sexual content, pornography, right? The pain body feeds itself by watching such things. And tabloids, gossip, right? So you have all the gossip, all the media, it loves negative news. Why it publishes negative news? Because people buy it. People's pain bodies want more of it. That's why, media sells negative news, right? So we have to be mindful of that consumption. Then there is this section on the uh, collective female pain body. Now this is basically the menstruation that females have every month. They have this cycle. So the actual reason, what Eckhart says, is that there is a collective female pain body, which is basically all the suppression and atrocities done by men since time. So collectively, as a race, as not a race, but as a gender, females have this collective pain that that emerges in them, at a specific time every month. And this basically pain body just gets activated before this cycle begins, which manifests as negative thinking, and lot of uh, you know uh, kind of irritation and all these things. This is Eckhart has also covered it very well in the Power of Now also. And over time, what has happened is, because of this suppression, atrocities, and slavery and rape and all the childbirth, women forced to do continuous childbirths and all. So mm, there is the balance between the male and female energies have been destroyed over time, right? And because of this female pain body has got generated. But the positive side to this is that if a woman becomes more and more aware of this particular time, when the pain is coming up in her, that is the best time for her to free her, more and more from that pain. Maybe meditate more at that time. You can do more of healing at that time, those 4 5 days, and maybe a day before that when the pain emerges, be more aware as the pain is emerging. And that's why Eckhart says that women are less ego identified, women are less mind identified, they have less ego, they are more of feelings based, so they are much closer to enlightenment than men. However, Eckhart says another thing is that men also have that possibility. So it's not that, in men that possibility is not there, but in female that possibility is more, right? Given that they are not that much identified with mind as men are, right? Okay, and the last thing here is the national and racial pain bodies. So here what Eckhart is saying is that there are countries and races which are subject to wars. They have collective pain. So for example, think about India and Pakistan. So we have had till now 3 wars, right? So our previous generations have been part of that pain. So all that pain is coming to us. So we are not free from that pain. We are part of that pain, that the 1947 when the partition happened, like what is, beautifully demonstrated in the movie Bhag Milkha Bhag. That whole pain was there in him of seeing his family members being killed, right? So for for uh, for in that movie it was just shown that he actually saw the thing. But it's not that we don't have that pain, we also, all of us have that share of pain, right? So some countries which are subject to more of wars, like Jewish people, they have a lot of pain from the whatever the history was there. And Native American black people, so what Eckhart says that America, the whole foundation for the success that America has seen now, which America is standing on now, is basically the millions of black people, the Native American black people, their toil and their effort went unrecognized. They were treated as slaves, right? Um, do read, do watch that "I Have a Dream" speech by Martin Luther King Jr. Right? That was that one speech that took the black people out of their thing. And so the kind of slavery which they had to undergo, and the pain that have passed on to their future generations. So there is a racial pain body, there is a national pain body. Now some countries like Canada and all, New Zealand and all, these countries are younger countries, so they have lighter pain bodies. The more your history is there of pain and war, the more there will be a national and racial pain bodies are there, right? Then and then Eckhart also says that the more active the pain body, then there many therapies have come up to mitigate. Like, not actually the therapies actually, some places like Germany, they just immerse themselves in work. Japan, this just immerse themselves in work, right? That is like one way of mitigating the pain, right? But pain doesn't get mitigated that way. In China, Hector gives a very beautiful example that they practice this tai chi. So China is basically communist. They don't recognize, they feel threatened by all these things, that their control should not go, but they still have allowed Tai Chi, which is a movement based practice, and a lot of people practice it there. Like another thing is yoga or Qigong, right? So all these things help in healing that particular pain that we have as on a national pain body, right? Okay, so this was basically kind of a I just thought this time to do by through a mind map. I hope this was kind of useful. I will just stop sharing my screen. I hope this was useful in some way. And this covers chapter 5 of the book New Earth. And next I will be taking the chapter 6, right? If anyone has any questions, you can put it in the chat. So I hope this was useful. This made sense. Okay, just to close, I have a masterclass on. I have a masterclass on Friday, 9 p.m. IST, on the 3 secrets on how to heal stress and burnout and find a better life through mindfulness. So you can join this. It is my free masterclass. It is there in the comment section. I've given the link, right? So you can join this masterclass where I'll share 3 secrets on how to heal stress and burnout and live a better life through mindfulness. Do join me Friday 9 p.m. IST. This will be happening. Then I have created a Facebook group, a dedicated Facebook group on mindfulness. If you want to, want more presence to arise in you, more mindfulness to arise in you, then do join this Facebook group of mine, where I'll be posting a lot of tips and updates. And what I will do is that I will also do some, challenges, like a 7 day or 10 day challenge on mindfulness and gratitude and all those things, right? So you can join this mindfulness Facebook group if you have not joined. um, another thing is that you can another thing is that you can stay connected with me. Another thing is that you can stay connected with me. It's not Abhinav Gulecha plus, it's just Abhinav Gulecha at the end. Right. So this is the link. Basically, this is my link bio. You can just click on this link and you can stay connected. If you have any specific challenges with respect to awareness or with respect to being mindful, or if you have certain patterns in you, anxiety, fear, overthinking, right, right, all these patterns, if you have, then you can, there is a in this link. Actually, I also have a link for my one-to-one consultation. That is like a, kind of a free consultation for a limited time only. So you can book that and I'll help you. Whatever insights I can provide you, I will provide you. So you can book a consultation with me. So this is it. Uh, so basically, this is today's Tuesday. I will try to keep sessions 7, 8, 7 or 9 p.m. this time. One day I'll try to post meditations. One day I'll try to, do some kind of these reviews or something. Do please give me feedback, right, on how I can improve, how I can make it much more better, right? Because this is your feedback only I can be better. So please share with me your feedback. um, Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'll take your leave now. Thank you so much. God bless you. Take care. Thanks for joining this session. Thank you so much. Bye. Bye.